Have you ever experienced problems with your hair that you can't seem to solve? Do you feel hopeless because you believe having your best hair is unachievable? If so, you are definitely not alone. I hear from countless consumers who are frustrated with their hair, and they usually ask me for advice. And while I know a lot about hair, my expertise is not in styling, but I always feel compelled to assist anyone who asks for help. So I usually make recommendations that can range from changing up products or to seeking out advice for professional services. So whether it be a physician or a trichologist, because all our needs are different. But sometimes all it takes is good old sisterly bonding time to jumpstart the journey to having the hair that you've always wanted. And this experience is what we're going to talk about today with my special guest, Lillian Washington. My name is Dr. Crystal Porter. I'm a hair scientist and owner of Main Insights, a company that conducts research and focuses on the needs of people from African descent. This platform is designed to elevate the Black hair care industry and empower consumers and hair professionals with education that is supported by scientific research or issues that pertain to us. Thank you so much for being here today. Now, before we jump in, I would love to know who is out there with me this morning. If you are watching from somewhere in particular, make sure you can put it in the chat. Put the number one if you are a practitioner, the number two if you are a consumer, and the number three if you are a researcher or a scientist such as myself. Also, be sure to like and share this broadcast. Now, if you are frustrated with the lack of information when it comes to caring for your hair, and you wasted a lot of money, time, and resources trying to figure things out on your own, then you are at the right place. And that is why we have created the Our Black Hair Matters movement. And if you have not checked things out already, I do have a hair, what I call a hair assets page. And basically, it is a page where you can find resources such as the finding the right stylist or the biggest mistakes that curlies make. I also have hair themed children's books, and it's a template for you to write to companies that don't have the data to back up some of the claims that they make. And you can also schedule a complimentary consultation, and it is there on the screen as you can see. Now, for those who have joined just a little late, welcome to the Our Black Hair Matters Lunchtime Chat. I am Dr. Crystal Porter, and today I have Lillian Washington with me. Let's bring her in. Hello there.
Hey, Dr. Porter, how are you?
I'm fine. It's so funny. Do you call me Dr. Porter when we see each other as opposed
Sometimes it depends.
it depends.
Oh,
Well,
yes, you are Crystal.
yes, okay, yes. I was like, does she call me Dr. Porter? But I want to welcome you and thank you so much for being here because I feel that you have a story that others will benefit from, which is why I asked you to be here. And you were gracious enough to be willing to come on. And I feel that, well, let me get back up information about who you are and how I know you. So it's so funny. I was laying in bed this morning, and what popped up in my timeline, 1 year anniversary on Facebook, was my first jump at the meetup at the 40 Plus Double Dutch Club. And I had just said yesterday when we were at the meetup that I was like, it's been about a year now, because I remember it was in February when I came out. So you are a 40 Plus Double Dutch Club member, and we are part of the same sub club. And so it's been a pleasure to not only jump with you, but to, fellowship in other ways. And so I love your spirit. And so I'm glad that you felt comfortable enough to coming to me. But let's give some background about like who you are as a person. So I know that you are a wife and mother. Are there some other things we need to know about you?
I'm not quite sure. Like you said, wife and mother, I work, 40 plus hours a week. Have a granddaughter who keeps us busy at times. Just being me, there's not a lot to me besides mom, wife, and who I am. And I have a lot of me time now that the girls are grown up, which is nice. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, all right. And so I want to jump into it because I think that your story
Mhm.
is unfortunately not unique. So while you are unique as, an individual and a wonderful person, I think your struggles need to be discussed more because I hear it over and over again. And so you know who I am. I
Mhm.
purposely put hair doc,
Mhm.
HAIRDOC, on the
Mhm.
back of my 40 plus double Dutch shirt
Mhm.
because I want people to know that, I do have unique expertise. And while I don't do hair or style hair myself, I feel that some of the problems that people have, I can assist with. And if
Mhm.
I can't, I can direct you to who you may need to see. And
Yes.
so let's talk about why you even sought out expertise to begin with.
Well, first of all, I have problems with shedding. It will grow and break, grow and break. Of course, you go to the hairstylist, and it's a money pit. For me, it was
Mhm.
spending lots and lots of money, and then for them to tell me, "Oh, your hair's on its last leg. What are you going to do?" I
Mhm.
said, "You're right. Let me stop seeing you." So I sought out a doctor, and all they said was traction alopecia, traction alopecia. I said, okay. Eventually, y'all be bald. I said, oh my. So, of course, I started disguising it with braids and wigs and whatnot. And then one day I said, you know what? I'm tired of this. It's got to be an end. Something's got to give. I have to stop being embarrassed and ashamed because of women, we get shamed when our hair falls out and seek out some assistance. And lo and behold, I did join Double Dutch 40 plus. I met you, not knowing what type of doctor you were, but you did give a good disclosure and say, I am not a medical doctor. I am a hair scientist. It's a difference. And I was like, oh, well, she may not know about my condition because of the shedding and the irritation of the scalp. So I kind of held back a little bit, but eventually you gave a talk. And I said, okay, that's my end. I'm going to tell Krista what's going on. And hopefully I can get some hair growth that will stay with me and I can wear my hair and be proud of it. Essentially, that's what I want to do, is to wear my hair and be proud of it and not be ashamed. So
Yeah.
here I am.
So how did it really make you feel when you had to disguise it though?
Oh,
I think that a lot of women disguise their hair. Nowadays, I don't think that's unique, unfortunately.
it isn't. It isn't. But it did make me feel a lot better because no one could see all the breakage. I have breakage everywhere. No one could see it. I could wear it in a style where you couldn't see, the spots. So I felt prettier. I just said, hey, this is what society is doing. This is
Mhm.
acceptable. It's a
Mhm.
money pit, but who cares? I look good. I feel good about it. So
Mhm.
yeah. And then I'm
Mhm.
like, wait a minute, it's got to be an end to this
Mhm.
eventually because I'm going to stop wearing braids. I'm going to stop wearing wigs. I want to wear my hair. It's
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
So you mentioned that you had, or you were told that you had traction alopecia,
Hmm.
and you may have. One of the
Okay.
things I do want to say, so even though I am not a medical doctor, I've learned a lot of the different types of learned about what causes the different types of alopecia. Some
Mhm.
are unknown, but traction in particular
Yeah.
is one that can be prevented. And so traction alopecia comes from pulling. It can come from pulling from the hairstyles that we wear, even if our hair is natural. So people think that the protective styles of having, cornrows or individual braids, even locks sometimes that are pulling too tight
Hmm.
can cause trauma to the hair follicles, which grow the hair fibers. And so that is preventable. And you may have had it, but I have to tell you that when you did come to me and I, just kind of looked at your scalp, I could tell that your follicles were still there. And so the good thing about traction alopecia is that it is reversible. when it first starts. Now, if you keep traumatizing those follicles and keep pulling and pulling, and the hair grows back and then you pull it again, then those follicles will not continue to grow hair. So I just want to say that. But to be told that, you will no longer have hair, I don't know if it was in the context of if you continue to pull your hair, or if they just said, no, you're on the path of no return.
I believe I was on the path of no return because I had stopped braiding and weaving at that time. I was just wearing like a wig, a full wig, for weeks, for months, for years, but still no growth, no change. It was thinning and shedding. It was just awful. Yeah. And then my primary care at that time, the dermatologist notes state it's probably just all going to fall out. I said, oh, okay. You try to hold it together. And then when, you come home, you cry, and your husband's like, honey, don't worry about it. You can get a wig. You'll be fine. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But I'm over that. I just wanted to grow and stay and be healthy.
Well, it's so great that you have support, though. I think that for Black women in particular, with some of the issues that we go through, I think that having that support at home is key for your self-esteem as well. Because I tell people all the time, at the end of the day, we all want to look and feel beautiful. That's really what we want to do.
Absolutely. Especially as we get older, who wants to be an ugly duckling,
No, I understand it. And you know what? It's so funny you're talking about that, because as I'm looking at myself on camera, it's a little different with these glasses. Yeah, I mean, so at the end of the day, I want my eyes to be perfect, but as we get older, things change. And while I'm scared to death of contacts, I'm just going to have to rock these glasses.
Rock them. Absolutely. It's like we rock our hair. We're going to have to rock it.
Yes, absolutely. And, I had someone comment, this is just a side note, while we're talking about, hair and how appearance and how we look. I had someone make a comment one time, and I'm trying to think of how I had my hair. I may have had it up. I may have had it like in like a wrap, a twist, twist wrap kind of, where it was up. And someone made the comment, oh, I like your hair. It looks tamed. And so I want to make a point about that right now, because I think we get criticized. I think women are, to be honest, more critical than men are. And so we have to have every strand laid in a particular way. And to say that my hair looked tamed made me feel that the other ways that I choose to wear it are untamed.
Okay.
And usually, even though, every strand is not in place, everything is intentional for me. So I think we just criticize ourselves or each one another too much. And so it's just interesting how we have that in the forefront of our minds to try to please others.
Right. Society as well. Absolutely.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. So are there any other steps that you took before asking my advice? And we'll get into what we did a little later, but
okay.
I'm just wondering about your journey and the things that you've tried, because I think a lot of women are in the middle of that process right now of saying, okay, I need to find this, and I need to look at more videos, and I need to, so what did you do?
First off, I went to the doctor, of course, to find out what was going on. I thought maybe it was just my autoimmune system. Something was going, a wire. So I went to the doctor. I got a trim. I trimmed it myself. Wash, condition. Again, I was going to hairstylists. They would say, oh, yeah, we can grow it. We see exactly what's going on. I did a couple natural styles where just, silk press. Didn't hold at all. So eventually I found myself back into the trap of weaving and braiding again. And it seemed to be going okay. Like you said, traction alopecia will grow back. But then when you start pulling again, unbeknownst to me, and the stylist didn't say anything, it would just continue to break. So again, with the the deep conditioning, the steaming, the trimming of the ends, um, cortisone shots, which are painful, cortisone topical that you put on your hair that never, for me, never soaked into my scalp. And I'm like, I'm so cold using this cream. I didn't understand it. I stopped. I just stopped it. So I just threw caution to the wind, invested in a good wig, and went on.
Mm.
I every 2 weeks I tried to wash and condition, braid my hair up, put that wig back on. I stopped the cortisone shots because no one wants to be in pain and don't see results. And the cream wasn't helping. So, oil, believe me, oil, all kinds of oils, just drops, rub it in, activators, just trying to keep it moist, not understanding moisture versus being too greasy.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually stopped that. And I was like, you know what? When is this going to stop? I'm just tired, all this money and no results. The hairstylist said they can help you, but then they say the comments like, "Oh, you're on your last leg. Oh, we can just braid it, or don't worry about it." But you worry about it because it's your hair. You're like, I'm in my 50s. Am I going to be bald at 55? No, I'm going to try to prevent that. So I had to put aside the embarrassment and the shame and seek out some assistance. So,
Yeah.
and here we
So
are.
I just want to have a point of clarification. You were saying that as you were pulling, your hair was breaking off, and you can break hair with pulling, but traction alopecia is actually removal of the hair fiber from the follicle, and so it's not really breaking off. When it's
Okay.
traction alopecia, it is not breakage. It is actually coming out of the follicle.
Right.
And then, as I said, those follicles become traumatized and no longer grow hair when
Right.
it becomes irreversible and starts
Mm.
over. So I just wanted to make that point. But when I looked at your hair, as I said, I could still see follicles, but there were some patches
Right.
where hair was missing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, but like I said, I saw some follicles. And so I felt, you had been to a physician
Mm-hmm.
and you had been to some stylists. And so I did have that talk. Like you said, I brought one of the local stylists here, Marvelette Bailey. She is someone that I always refer people to, but you and I are out here in the suburbs, in the southwest suburbs. And Marvelette is in the city of Chicago. And so sometimes that is a hike that people aren't willing to take or
Yeah.
don't have time in their schedule to take.
Mm-hmm.
So I typically do not help people in the same way that I assisted you because I tell everyone I am not a hairstylist.
Right.
But you kept saying that, I have this tight curl pattern and
Mm-hmm.
you wish to, wear it loose and have it grow. And, you were referencing my hair. And I was like, my hair, believe it or not, is tightly coiled, and so you didn't believe me. You still don't believe me, I don't think. That's okay. That's okay.
Not like this. Oh God, no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. This motherland here. Mm-mm. 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 It's mine. I thank God for it, but mm-mm.
So,
Mm-mm.
I know that there are a lot of people who don't believe it, but that's
Yeah.
okay. And I'll
Okay.
make an announcement at the end where people who really want to see my hair can see it. That's
Okay.
in the future. So I was looking at your hair and the
Mm-hmm.
potential, but I couldn't get a full understanding of what your hair was like until we started playing.
Right.
And so, before we get into the play, I want to ask you questions only because I think it gets to the heart of why we, as Black women in particular, feel the way we do. So I want to take a step back and talk about the beginning
Mm-hmm.
because how did you feel about your hair growing up?
Hated it
You
because
hated it.
those Saturday nights, was wash day. Oh my God, the
Mhm,
washing, the braiding, and then
mhm,
the ultimate pressing. Oh my God, the pressing of the hair was the worst to me, and it just never held. My hair
mhm,
would not hold that. I don't care how my mom pressed it. I don't care what kind of oil she put in it. I'd be moving and crinching and holding my ears. folded up, down on the floor. I was in tears, hated it,
Hmm.
hated it. The little ponytail sticking up, I just did not like it. I didn't.
So you were raised where your hair was straightened, and so it wasn't styled where it could stay in a curly state?
No,
No.
absolutely not. That's unacceptable. You
Okay.
have to have it pressed and laid and pull up in a ponytail. You
Okay.
got church on Sunday. All the girls was primmed and pressed. Hated it.
Okay.
Hated the end of the week because I knew that was wash day. Hated it.
Mm, yeah.
Hmm.
I put my children through that as well, not necessarily to keep it straight.
Okay.
It was just a variety, so some type of variation in the style just to change it up a little bit,
Mhm.
but it wasn't all the time. But I do remember the torture
Yeah, it is. It's
of doing
you
it.
just hate
Yeah.
it.
Or they didn't like it. They didn't like
Mm-mm.
the process at all.
No, not at all. Not
Wow.
at all. And then of course the perm came, not the perm. Yeah, the perm came, and then the curl. I eventually got the curl. And that seemed to make me feel a little better about my hair because I could comb it, I could put it in a ponytail. It wasn't those Sunday, Saturday nights where you had to get it pressed and all that good stuff. You could
Right.
just wear it, wash and
Mhm.
wear it essentially. But then
Mhm.
that got old too. So stop doing that. So absolutely. Just anything to change the original state of it so that I could
Mm.
comb it and keep it neat. Never
Mm.
did I wear it natural. Never, ever.
That
Never,
was going
ever.
to be my next question. Did you ever have a natural style? So is
Never.
this like the first time like you
In my
experienced this?
53 years, well, wait a minute. Of course, when you're a child, you have no choice but to have it natural when you're born. But for the last 48 years, I'd say this is the first time I have ever
Wow.
worn my hair out natural with no perm, no curl, no texturizer, no braiding, no
Mm.
weaving. And it's an adjustment. But I said, by God, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Whether society likes it, whether our women like it, oh, well, get over it. Come tell
Mm.
me you don't like it. I'm just going to do it. Yeah. And here
Hmm.
we are. Yeah. Hmm.
So, how long has it been? I should know this. So you came over. So what I did, because you were complaining
Hmm.
about your hair not being able to do anything.
Hmm.
And so I referred you to a stylist
Hmm.
who is very popular,
Oh,
very, very
absolutely.
popular. And she did not have an opening.
Right. I was
But
too scared to see anybody. I just wouldn't do it. I didn't want to hear, oh, don't worry about it. You'll be bald soon. Because it's just, to me, it's a money pit, Crystal. You pay all this money and you don't see any results. And then you just become hardened. You don't want to trust anybody.
hmm.
You just say, I just leave it. I do what I can.
Well, Miriam
Hmm.
Muhammad is the woman that I referred you to because she's not too far from us. You wouldn't have to go
Right.
all the way to the city.
Right. Right.
And she knows hair care very well.
Okay.
And so it was unfortunate that she did not have any openings, but she did refer you to someone else,
Absolutely.
that she
Hmm.
is, at least influencing
Yes.
to have the
Yes.
next generation of excellent stylists who can care for curly hair types. And it's a process, you are going through that process.
Hmm.
But at the same time, when you do your hair yourself, you were struggling.
Oh, what do you do with it? At one point I was just trying to gather it all in a ponytail, and I have found a ponytail, an extension that replicated my hair. I was just doing that. And I was
Mhm.
like, Lil, you're still pulling it. It's not in its natural state.
Exactly.
So I was like,
Exactly.
oh, it's gotta give. So yeah.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Well, happy to say that your hair has filled in beautifully.
Oh
So
God.
not only was it traction in the front, it was some traction in the back as well.
Mhm.
And the hair that was missing, or the scalp that we saw, is now covered with hair, and it
Absolutely.
looks beautiful. And so
Mhm.
I invited you over, and I was like, we gonna have a hair play date.
Right.
And so the premise really was to, so you came with your hair cleansed,
Hmm.
And I had already given you a couple of products. We're not going to talk about product brands or anything
Okay.
here. But I did give you some that I thought would be useful for your particular hair type. And I know that there are a lot of stylists and other professionals who may be out there who poo-poo on curl typing.
Yeah.
And as a scientist, I totally disagree. I think that it is very relevant, but there are other factors that we have to consider as well as the degree of curl. But I found that there are some products that do help us coily girls to manage our hair more effectively. And so you started using those and you came over with your hair just braided, so
Right.
freshly cleansed. And so I had some products and I was determined to show you that there were things like techniques you could use. So even though I'm not a stylist, I do my own hair. And I do know how to work with what I consider coily hair, which is a little bit more tightly curled. And so I wanted to kind of show you the techniques that I use because I feel for a twist out, anytime I, twist my hair and double stranded twist it in, release it, that does better with coily hair types. And so
Right.
you can't have hair too coily, in my opinion, to have that look. So I
Right.
was determined to show you that your hair can do more than you were saying that it could do. And so do you want to talk about that process?
Absolutely. When I first did the double strand, if you will, it came out so frizzy because I didn't understand the product that I needed to use, the amount, because Crystal, I think I sent you a screenshot of how many different products I've tried. It's ridiculous. I said, I got to stop this. This is not going to work. All that money, and it's not helping. And anyway, I would twist it, and it would, when I would undo it, it was so frizzy. It had that real, you love the word coily, but you know what I'm used to. The word coily. It just looks so, it was an afro. And I was like, where's the curl at? I took all this time to double strand and I don't have a curl pattern. Something is wrong. Frustrated. Again, just braid it back, put your little hairband on and rock it. So eventually we had a hair date and you showed me what I needed to be doing. My technique was way off. The separating of the strands was incorrect. So you did show me that. You did talk to me about oil. It can't be too oily. You just need a drop. I was using almost a half a bottle, so it was seen, for a
Oh
week.
my gosh, yes.
You know,
I couldn't
and I'm
believe how
thinking,
you did that oil. I was like,
because
what
it
are
looks so
you
dry.
doing?
It looks dry, and it was hard. And I was like, how do you get your hair to be soft? So absolutely. So I learned a lot. As you can see, I've come a long way. I still got a journey, but I am willing to take it.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
So what we did was, actually show you your hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you, looking at the volume of your hair, so now that it's filled in, of course,
Mm-hmm.
it's, a little uneven. It's going to take some time
Right.
for it to, but when your hair grows out and it's like even,
Mm-hmm.
you watch out.
Oh my God. I'm
It's
waiting.
absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's, baby steps and it
Yeah,
does take time,
it
but
does.
you wait till it fills all the way in. I
Okay.
cannot wait. I'm gonna have you back
Okay.
on.
I can't wait
I
either.
cannot
Let me
wait.
see. When was it? Was it October? I went on vacation September. So I think around October is when I started. So it's been about a good 4 months because I think April will be 6 months. No braids, no weaves, just the double strand. I think I counted out
Okay.
April will be my 6 months. And every 3 months,
Okay.
I'm trying to,
Yeah.
kind of see the growth. And I feel it. I
Hmm.
see it. I love it.
Hmm.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I
So
do.
October is when I introduced. Well, it's been a process. So we had the event in
Right.
October. Was it in October? We had the event
It
in
was in, I think it
October.
was in October. And
And
that's
there
when I
were some
started.
products
Yeah.
that were introduced, and then
Mhm.
it was stepwise because
Absolutely.
I needed to fit what you were unhappy with. And as you continue to complain, I was like, oh, well, you need to try this. Oh, you need to try
Right.
that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so a caveat to people, please do not, well, unless you schedule an appointment so I can let you go to someone else because I don't do hair.
Right. Right.
I just want this experience that I had with Lillian in particular
Mhm.
because, she's nearby. It was, I saw you almost every week, jumping rope. And so it was really easy to keep track of what was going on with you. But this same process is necessary with professional hair. And I
Okay.
do have a list of trusted professionals. And so, while this is not anything that I care to do personally, this is something I think that some people just need. And so I'm glad that I could have been of service to you.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
And you also talked to us about vitamins too, our nutrients, what we're putting in our
oh yeah.
body. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
I want
yeah.
that net to come into play for me. It really did. It really did. So yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we also had different types of products that we use because some people, their hair to feel a different way. So we
Right.
had two different leave-in conditioners or products, I
Mhm.
should say, that could help define the curl.
Right.
And so played around to see which one you liked best because I can say, hey, I like this particular look better. But
Right.
inside of the ways that we varied the product in your hair, by the
Right.
amount and the type of product, you were able to
Right.
choose what you love, how your hair felt, and how it looked.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. So it's come a
Mhm.
long way, but I got a journey and I'm
It's
I'm
still a
on it.
process.
What can
Yeah,
I say?
absolutely.
It is. It
Absolutely.
is. It is. It
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
so I want to, now that you've gone through this process,
Mhm.
if there are like any words of advice that you would give one who's going through the process of trying to
Um,
figure out what's going on with their hair.
the first thing would be don't be afraid. Stop being ashamed. It is our hair, and you have to find out why. If you're not satisfied with the doctor that your insurance pays, you might have to step outside of the box and find someone that
Okay.
is good. But absolutely,
Mhm.
don't be ashamed anymore. Just stop that because that was one of my biggest fears, being ashamed.
Mhm.
Um, don't be afraid to reach out to different hairstylists. And if they're not telling you what you think is true, you might have to move on. Sometimes we just want to stay because it feels comfortable and don't accept, oh, you could just braid it or weave it. If your goal is to grow your own hair and wear it, stay the course. Do not give up. Do not give up. And
Mhm.
ultimately just find out why. Is it traction? Is it hereditary? Is it something you're eating, something you're doing? Try to get to the bottom of it and
Right.
just roll with it. Just work it out. But the biggest thing I would say, don't be ashamed. Because that was my fear. I was embarrassed because I didn't want to hear everything repeated over and over. Just braid it. Just weave it. Mm-mm. So I didn't go. But now I'm glad I went. Got a good haircut, and now I'm on my way. I think so. I feel much better about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the fact that you're wearing it out yourself
Mhm.
is, I mean, it's a step in the right direction. And so, like I said,
Mhm.
it's a journey. Take baby steps.
Yes,
Baby
it
steps.
is. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Well,
You
thank
know
you
what?
so
Another
much for
fear.
sharing. Oh,
One
no, go
one thing
ahead.
I'm going to add is the working out issue. You know how we sweat and our
Mm.
hair kind of, it goes back to its coily state. With jumping rope, I pour down rain. When I'm turning, jumping, whatever. Even when I'm at home working out with weights and stuff, I find this style it keeps it. I don't worry
Mm.
about it. So, and that was one of my goals too, because we don't like to work out, we don't want to swim, we'll mess our hair up. But with this natural
Yeah.
hair, I can work it a little better. So I like it. Yeah. For me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
That is definitely a plus, and I concur. I'm a sweater too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hair and is like, oh my gosh. So you're right. You don't have to worry about it. It's in
Right.
its
Mhm.
natural state. And sometimes, some people plaster the gel on there straight away.
Mhm.
strands and personally can't do that. But I do understand those who want, every strand to be kept neat.
Right, right.
There are products out there to assist with that, but you're right. You don't have to worry about it when you're natural,
I don't. Mm-mm. And I love that
or
fact.
not as much.
I don't worry about it as much. Sometimes, yeah, it's out of place, but that's my hair. I can just go with it. So, and I have been. So, yeah,
Yeah,
life's easier.
cool.
Hmm.
Hmm. Well, thank you. Really appreciate you sharing. I know that, like I said, I'm going to have you back on here because when your hair all the way in and it starts to
Hmm.
grow and you're able to have diverse styles,
Right.
you're going to really start appreciating it. And I will bring you back on so people can see the progression because I can tell. I can't wait. I can't, and it's gonna be,
Yeah.
yeah, you're like, oh really? I'm like,
I can see the difference now, so I will be glad when I get there. So, yeah. Mhm.
great.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I'm just going to take just a little bit of time just for some announcements. And
Okay.
so Lillian doesn't it, but her experience really was the catalyst for others to express their desire to go through this process. So I reached out to my longtime friend and master cosmetologist, and she's also an expert educator. Her name is Deirdre Keller. She's located in the city of Chicago. She also has a very limited schedule for new people. But what she did agree to, because the process that I put Lillian through is the same process that she put me through when I started my natural hair journey. I had no idea what I could do with my hair. And so we are going to have extended hair play date event.
Mm.
And it's basically for those who want help with styling ideas and product recommendations. And so
Yes.
the thing is, as of this recording, because this is being recorded, because when this plays, I'll be traveling to New Jersey for an event. But the date, but all the information you will need to sign up for the event in Chicagoland will be in that page that I was telling you about. Let me bring that up. It is right there. And so just go there and say that you want part of it. And when everything is in place, you will get a notification of where to sign up and everything that. And so that is one thing. And then I am also always looking for practitioners who are using CBD based products or have a need to, because I would love to set up a time to chat because I'm really curious from a research standpoint what that's really doing to the in terms of its health. And then as a hair scientist, I always need hair samples. So if you know someone who has natural hair yourself and you want to cut it, I would love to purchase it for research purposes.
Mm.
And so reach out and you can find everything in that link that I have up. So appreciate you spending time with us and always remember that our Black hair and take care and love your hair. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.